You think it's love, but there's a quiet emptiness lingering inside. You try to convince yourself, it must be real. How could something that feels this intense be anything else? Yet when the world goes silent, that hollow feeling returns. The restlessness, the subtle ache, the sensation that you're reaching for someone who will not stay. It looks like love. It talks like love. It even hurts like love. But this is not love. It's a reflection of your own longing, a mirror of your unmet needs, not your healing. Sometimes we mistake relief for romance, desire for connection, a glance, a compliment, a fleeting moment of attention. It feels like oxygen when we're starving for validation. We build castles on sand, clinging to these fragments, forgetting the emptiness beneath. And when that attention fades, when they don't respond, or the tone changes, we crumble. You weren't drawn to them by chance. You were drawn to something familiar, something your soul recognizes unconsciously, a wound, a longing. Perhaps it reminds you of a parent who wasn't fully present, a love that once felt conditional, or a silence that taught you your needs were too loud. And when someone offers just enough to make you feel special, you cling, not to them, but to the hope that you can rewrite the story. If only I could make them love me fully, if only I could prove I'm enough, then maybe the pain I've carried would vanish. But that's not love. That's reenactment. It always feels familiar because it mirrors the patterns you learned long ago. Real love isn't about performing or proving your worth. It's about presence, steadiness, and safety. Love doesn't trigger anxiety. It doesn't make you desperate or restless. True love holds through darkness, not just light. It isn't a high or a distraction. It's a calm, grounding force that doesn't depend on someone else's actions to make you feel complete. The patterns we repeat are not random. Every craving, every panic, every moment of obsession carries energy trapped in old wounds. That energy, when recognized and understood, can transform. Anger becomes courage. Fear becomes intuition. Insecurity becomes humility. Even jealousy, when faced honestly, can remind you that you deserve to be fully chosen. Real love doesn't punish you for having needs. It doesn't demand you shrink to be accepted. It doesn't disappear when life gets difficult. It's quiet enough for your soul to breathe, steady enough for your nervous system to relax, and deep enough to hold your shadow without fear. You were never broken. You were never too much. You were simply carrying old beliefs. Beliefs about love, worth, and connection that no longer serve you. And now you can put them down. You can pause before reacting and ask yourself, is this love or is this fear disguised as love? For the first time, you can choose differently. You can write a new story. You can sit with the silence long enough to discover that you don't need saving, that the hunger softens, the shadow quiets, and your soul finally has space to breathe. You are always enough, and the love you've been searching for begins here. There's a subtle lesson in every fleeting attachment, every pattern that pulls you back into familiar pain. Each heartbreak, each disappointment, each fleeting high is a mirror of what's been left unresolved inside you. They're not punishments, they are invitations. Invitations to confront what you've buried, to recognize the parts of yourself you've ignored. The moments you cling, the moments you chase, they're not signs of weakness. They are signals. Signals that something in you is alive and yearning to be seen, loved, and understood. Anger, fear, jealousy, they are not enemies. They are messengers, showing you where energy is trapped, where growth is possible, where your healing begins. When you face these patterns, when you sit with your shadow instead of running, you start to reclaim that energy. You realize that every time you felt abandoned, unseen, or unworthy, you were learning a script. One that taught you love is conditional, but you can rewrite it. You can learn that love is not something to earn, but something to receive and to give freely without fear. Love is not about chaos. It is not about adrenaline. It is about honesty. It is about being present with yourself and allowing someone else to be present with you without losing yourself in the process. When you stop mistaking intensity for intimacy, when you stop chasing the temporary relief of being chosen, you create space for something real. something calm, consistent, and nourishing. The truth is, the one who left you empty was never the problem. The problem was the pattern, the blueprint that taught you if it hurts, it must be love. And now, by noticing it, by understanding it, you can begin to act differently. This is the inner work, facing your shadow, integrating your wounded parts, listening instead of fighting, asking, what is this fear protecting me from? What part of me is still convinced it cannot survive rejection? And as you answer slowly, the grip of old patterns loosens. Every moment of craving, every moment of panic is energy you can reclaim. Every signal from your body, anger, fear, longing, is a doorway to courage, intuition, and self-respect. You were never unworthy. You were never too much. You were simply living the story you were taught. Now you can pause. You can ask, is this love or is this fear? Is this safety or is this repetition? And you can choose differently. You can stop chasing relief and start inviting real connection. You can stop performing to earn love and start being whole exactly as you are. You don't need someone else to validate your worth. You don't need someone else to complete you. The love you've been searching for begins with meeting yourself fully, shadow and all. When you do, the hunger softens, the pattern's quiet, and the soul finally has room to speak. You were always enough, and in that moment, you realize love isn't out there waiting to rescue you. It's in here, patiently waiting for you to stop running, to stop mistaking chaos for connection, and to finally see yourself as whole. You've spent so long searching for validation, for someone to make you feel whole, and yet the truth is that wholeness was inside you all along. Every moment you waited for someone to stay, to love you fully, was a chance to look inward instead, to meet yourself, to choose peace over chaos, presence over distraction, and clarity over confusion. This isn't easy, and it won't happen overnight. But each step you take toward understanding your patterns, each pause before you react, each moment you recognize your shadow without judgment, is a victory. It is proof that you are reclaiming your life, your worth, and your freedom. Real love, the kind that doesn't demand, doesn't punish, and doesn't disappear, is waiting, not outside, not in someone else, but in the courage to honor yourself, to show up fully, to be steady even when it feels uncomfortable. The moment you stop mistaking intensity for intimacy, the moment you stop performing to be seen, the moment you stop chasing what never stays, you create space for what is real. So today I invite you to stop chasing the wrong kind of love, to stop defining your worth by someone else's attention, to sit with your silence, meet your shadow, and remember that you are enough. Not because anyone else says so, but because it has always been true. The love you've been searching for begins here, within you. It begins with presence, with honesty, with patience. And as you nurture that love inside, you'll find it reflected in the world around you. Not as a fleeting high, but as a steady, enduring force that holds you through light and darkness alike. Take a breath. Feel your heart. You are enough. You always were. And the life, the love, and the peace you've been longing for are finally yours to embrace.